What's the vibes? What's the vibes? Welcome, welcome. As you see, this is Mr. Valley. Today we're gonna listen to a story, give our input, analyze. In the comment section, you guys could listen or write what your opinion on is regarding the video. Let's see.
Gareth, you're under my house now and my rules. And if you try and do anything about this, then I'll go to the police and I'll tell them that you raped me. And who do you think they're going to believe? Little old me or big old you? And that's the moment where I felt trapped.
This is what you gotta watch out with who you're gonna be intimate with. Because these words are very, very scary for most people out there. Also, don't forget to drink water. I have mine here. Where's yours? Hopefully you have yours.
So what was your life like before you met your ex?
I had a couple of long-term relationships, and which had all been fine and just kind of ended, amicably. I think at this point, I was hoping that I could meet the right person and settle down and finally, make a life for myself and, children and all of that.
I have a quick question for you guys. Imagine you were with someone for 2 years, right? You guys were chill and all that, and eventually things broke off. Would you guys still remain friends, or you will cut that person off completely? Because I heard, or I know certain people that are still friends with their exes, and others completely cut them off. What's your take on it? Let me know in the comment section.
Relationships I'd always been in has always been where I'd gone out and met somebody at a bar or at a club, and you kind of click that way. And I think the kind of dating game and world has moved on from there now, and it has become like this kind of online phenomenon. It's very rare, I guess, you go out and meet somebody in a pub or in a club now. So I think that's how I kind of thought, well, I need to get myself back out there and put myself on one of these online apps again and see what comes out of it. I found my ex-girlfriend's profile on Plenty of Fish, and I ended up contacting her to ask her if she wanted to chat. So I think I just sent her a message just saying hi, how are you? You're very good looking, and are you looking for a relationship? Are you single? What are you on the app for, basically? And
could have had a little sauce to it, It was good. How's life and all that? I heard we're so here for a reason. I had a little sauce to it, but hey, maybe that's how he speaks, and if it worked, it worked. That's just to the rest.
Would love to chat some more with you. That was it, really, just to begin with. And then I think a day or two later, I had a reply saying, thanks for the kind message, and I'm not really sure what I'm here for at the moment, as a lot of people do say these days. But we'll see how things go. And I'm open for a chat. And then it just kind of moved from there.
And what did you do for your first time meeting?
It was just it was a normal meal. Like, we were chatting, laughing, joking, a few drinks, and there was she was kind of very affectionate to begin with. So kind of, she was really I think I had my hands on the table, and she'd already kind of put her hands over and was touching my hands already,
Okay. But I don't know if it's a red flag. On the first, maybe the conversation was going well, Maybe they were talking about things that they could relate to, and maybe she saw something in him. Let's see.
And stroking my hands type thing. So I was kind of wow, this is, she's been very, really affectionate and laughy and jokey and just paying attention, being attentive. So I think that kind of took me a bit off guard, especially to begin with, like, because I would have thought that maybe we would have gone on a couple of dates first before it would have been so kind of overpowering with love. But to do it like straight off the bat, I think.
I don't know, man. Off the bat. What do you guys think about this? Someone shows with affection off the bat. I actually have no comments about it. It just makes me think a lot. Is it a red flag? Is there a red flag? I don't know.
That kind of took me aback a bit, but it also, I think, sucked me kind of in more as well.
And how did the relationship progress from there?
So, I mean, we went on a couple of dates after that, just normal, and then, started spending some time with her. Go to the movies, you go out for dinner, you go for drinks you start, socializing a little bit. And it was just normal, as you would expect normally things to progress.
How quickly did you say to each other that you loved each other?
Probably maybe about 2 or 3 weeks into the relationship.
2 or 3
So very, very early on.
2 or 3 weeks. 2 to 3 weeks into meeting someone. Man. Isn't that... I don't know, man. Like, I don't know if it's a red flag, really. 2 to 3 weeks after meeting the person, you guys confess your love to each other. Because relationships is different for everyone. Certain people it takes longer, others is shorter. So I'm not sure if it's a red flag. Well, you guys in the comments, write in the comments what's your take on it.
But I think it was more her trying to get it out of me, because she would say it to me, and then she would say, "Come on, now you need, like, why are you saying this?" And I said, "Is this not?"
Okay. Now that's a red flag. If someone is forcing you to say, yeah, that's a red flag. Something is off about this. The fact she was pressuring you to say it, it's as if like she wants it quick. For what? You gotta take the time. Observe the person, no more. Y'all can just like walk in 2 weeks, 3 weeks after, oh, I like you, you say it to now. Like, what type of mentality is this? I forgot, I don't know what your name, sir, is, but you should have felt, as you were about to say right now, is this not a bit too early to say that? Oh, yeah, it is. If I think about it now, like, it's a little too early, right? At least like a month. Would you say a month is okay? I'm learning here, man. Like, is a month okay? Or is a month okay?
Not a bit too early to say that? And she was like, "It's never too early to say I love you." We'd probably been together maybe 3-4 months by this stage. Because I was still living at a different property at my own flat, she kind of said, "Well, look, you're spending all your time here. Why don't you kind of, rather than paying rent out onto a different property, then move in with me. You're spending all your time with..."
No. Don't do that. Do not do that. You already have your apartment. Stay there. Because what could happen if, okay, in the first month you could be with her, right? All is sunshine and rainbows and all that. And then when she gets angry, she'll kick you out, because technically it's not your house, it's her house. So Her name is on the lease, not yours. So technically she has the right to kick you out whenever she wants. So you already had a house. Why didn't you? Hopefully you didn't like move in, man. Hopefully you didn't move in, man.
Me, it would make a lot more sense for you to pool your money here instead. And because I felt, yeah, things were going well, that it would work out for the long run, then it just felt like a natural next move. When I moved in, that's when things started to turn, I think. So shortly after I'd moved in, she said that I wasn't allowed to keep any of my belongings.
You see? So normally before you do these types of decisions, you gotta consult people. If you have parents, if you don't have parents, you have people that are close to you, your squad, as I say. You didn't consult them before making that decision? Because now look, you're not even able to bring your own things because now it's her house. She is supposed to tell you now what to do. Because it's not your house, it's her house.
In the house. I kind of queried it to begin with and said, well, why? And she said, well, because you don't need all these things anyway. There's a lot of things here that are just excessive belongings.
It's my stuff. What do you mean excessive belongings? These are things that I hold dearly. You call it excessive belongings? What? How do you... Sir, by this time you should have already felt something was up, man. By this time you should have already felt something was off, man.
To which I said, well, no, a lot of these things are clothes and kind of some sentimental things. And she said, well, you can keep them, but they'll have to go in the garage. A few days later, she said, well, you've been spending a lot of your time here with me over the last few months, and now you're here living with me. So this is my house, it's my rules, and you need to pay me the back pay.
You see? You see? I said after a month. She waited 3 to 4 months for you to get settled, as you say. Now look, it's her house, her rules. What can you do? You're stuck now, unless you go buy an apartment on the low. And then one day, when she goes to work, you take your stuff and you leave. For the viewers, I understand the video may be a little slow, so I will increase it a little bit.
And the back rent.
I'll increase it a little bit.
From the time that you were here. So she demanded that I pay her £700 on the spot. And then for moving in with her and living with her moving forward, I would need to pay £700 rent money to her every month.
So, is she your girlfriend or your landlord? Sir, I understand you may enjoy her presence, but you gotta understand that certain how can I say this? Certain behaviors, certain patterns needs to be studied. Because now she's your tenant. So she's your landlord. 700 pounds CAD if we convert it an average 800 to 950, something like that. Quote me. Don't quote me on this, but around that. It's not a bad deal, depending on how big the apartment is.
On top of paying the rest of the bills, utility bills, council.
Okay, no, I won't do that. It's your house, right? Wait, so you're gonna pay everything? Wait, so you've gotta pay 700 plus utility bills. That's what, 800, 850. How much is she gonna pay? Unless you pay everything and then she, no, you won't do that, man.
Council tax, etc. On top of that, and I kind of queried it and said at the time, look, don't you think we should be paying things 50-50 here? And she turned around to me and she said, no, Gareth, you're the man, you're the earner. Then it moved kind of on then from like with the financial side of wanting to kind of have control of my bank account. And
Gareth, that's your name. You should have left right there, bro. Gareth, you should have left, man. You should have left, man. She said she wants control of your bank account. She wasn't even open on the option of 50-50. Is she, so, what is she then? For those who have relationships right now, are you letting your significant other take control take control of your bank account? Are they able to see what's in your bank account? Right? Yes or no in the comment section.
I kind of questioned that. Said, well, this is not really, what if we should do that? Then I should have sight of yours. We should be equal now. We're kind of living together. And she said, no, Gareth, you're under my house now and my rules. And if you try and do anything about this, then I'll go to the police and I'll tell them that you raped me.
What you could have done there, man. Have an audio recording. Have an audio recording, man. Stuff it in your pocket or somewhere. And tell her, repeat it again. Repeat it again. Because, bro, this is a scary situation, man. That's why whenever you go to someone's crib, make sure that the vibes are alright and everything is consensual. Make sure also that you're safe. That's why whenever you feel anything weird with someone else's crib and all that, send a text to someone, say, yo, I'm going to this crib. This is the address. Whenever something is wrong, if everything is wrong, I will be here. Or if you see a conversation could start becoming dangerous or aggressive, on your phone, we all have those audio recording apps. Press on it. They don't even make sure they don't see it. Press on record stuff in your pocket, man. Because these are situations that if you look at studies, a lot of especially males fall victim to. A lot of males are in jail right now for these types of convictions, even though they didn't do it. Gareth, man, what you could have done is As soon as you hear that, say, okay, bet, I know how you move, I know how you are. Let me take my phone, record it whenever you speak, so that whenever record from now, just start recording everything because you never know. Record everything, save every screenshot. If you guys have text and all that, make sure you screenshot it, store it somewhere, use it as evidence because man, if she right now goes to the police and says, "Oh, you touched her without any consent," and you ain't got no proof that she faked it, bro, you're going to jail, man. And that's a lesson for everyone too. Like, make sure you're safe out there because there are people like this, male or female. Man,
And who do you think they're going to believe, little old me or big old you? And that's the moment where I felt trapped. From there, things just escalated. It started with the financial side, then it moved on to the kind of the physical side as well. So there was like kind of, if things weren't going away, there was kicking, biting, scratching, clawing. As I said, I was always brought up.
biting, biting. How angry was she to bite, biting another human? What type of behavior is this? Biting. The only time I've seen another human biting someone else was when Luis Suarez bit what's his name again? Delaney in the World Cup 2014. Was it 2014? Uruguay against Italy. That was the first time I saw anyone bit. I didn't know it was this common, biting. Man, you learn new things every day. What?
Up never to hit a woman, so I was never going to do anything back. So yeah, they were. I mean, I was hit with a glass candle holder across my nose, which has left me with a permanent scar, just because she was having a bad day. It was the kind of isolation from friends, family, the not having a key. I couldn't shower or shave there, even though I was paying all the bills. If I did shower, if I was allowed to shower, should I say, I had to thoroughly disinfect the shower down each time. So I had to, if I could take a shower, I had to spend, and she would tie me, I had to spend a minimum of an hour in there cleaning it afterwards with bleach.
Repeat again. I didn't really process the information. Let me go back real quick. Let me go back real quick.
It was the kind of isolation from friends, family, the not having a key. I couldn't shower or shave there, even though I was paying all the bills. If I
So you couldn't shower. You couldn't Gareth, I understand that he trapped you in a. Yeah, it depends on the person. Not everyone has the courage to really, like, you know, put their foot down. What? In this channel, we don't judge. See? But I'm just trying to understand. If you were not able to take a shower at her crib, where did you shower? Don't tell me she made you go outside and hose yourself with the garden hose. But what type of relationship is this? There's really people. It's crazy. This in life, man. You could be walking around outside. People, you see couples smiling and all that, but you never know what's really happening in their crib. You might think everything is oh la di da di da, but you never know, man. Like, yo, there's there's people like outside. They're happy. They're smiling and all that. Inside, you see, have situations like this. That's why do not rush into relationships, guys. Make sure you're ready mentally to accept someone. And if you see any red flags, man, make sure to identify it, to avoid situations like this. Because showering is the necessity. You are not able to shower. Where did you go? Oh my gosh, man. Wow.
I did shower. If I was allowed to shower, should I say, I had to thoroughly disinfect the shower down each time. So I had to, if I could take a shower, I had to spend, and she would time me, I had to spend a minimum of an hour in there cleaning it afterwards with bleach and disinfectant and completely making sure that that shower was completely sparkling after I'd left it.
How often were you allowed to shower?
Once every 2 weeks, if I was lucky.
Yes. Guys, I apologize, man. I didn't know the story was like this. Uh, I think I don't know if I want to continue this story, man. You know, but for y'all, I'm gonna press play and see how far I could go. I'm someone that doesn't really get angry, but listening to this is it's not easy.
So I used to sneak down the gym to try and shower. But she would, when she would kind of kick me out of the house, because I was only allowed to be in the house when she was there, I'd tried to kind of sneak some clothes into my laptop bag so I could go down to the gym and shower.
Bro, this is not. It's as if like you were a captive in a way. Wow. It's as if like the body is free, but the soul is chained up. Like she chained your soul. Like you can leave, but you can't leave. I don't know if you guys see the image I'm trying to portray. You had to sneak out to the gym to go take a shower. Gareth, man. With Mr. Gareth. You know, in life when you see a problem, it could be with someone, it could be with a specific situation. Sit down and look, what are your options? You think that there's no options out there, but trust me, there is. For you, is being scared to be portrayed as someone that hurts another woman. As I said, I know it's too late now, but for anyone, if anyone watching this is going through the same problems, make sure to record it. Save every evidence that you have. And once you have enough, and the moment is right, bro, you might as well just go to the cops, man, and show it. Because if you don't do that, man, it's just gonna get worse and worse and worse and worse and worse until you completely detach from society and she will have control of you 100%.
But she would frisk my bag on the way out and frisk me before I was kind of forced to leave the house each time, to check that I wasn't taking stuff. And if I had tried to sneak some shower stuff in, for the minimal clothes I was allowed to keep in the house, she would throw them on the floor and just kick me out anyway, so I couldn't then shower. And I suppose the biggest one was not being able to use the toilet. So, I mean, I wasn't allowed to defecate in the house. So if I needed to go, I was made to hold it in and walk to the local pub or supermarket to go. There was a couple of times I nearly didn't make it.
How did you feel during that time when you weren't even allowed to go to the loo in your own house?
I felt demoralised. I started feeling, put down because I was always being belittled, and it was always humiliation as well.
What were the things that she said to you during the course of your relationship? What were the ways in which she belittled you?
Well, because the sex became more and more demanding. So after I moved in, it maybe went from 2-3 times a day to maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day at times. And then if I couldn't perform, it was around my manhood, and it was kind of.
You say 4 to 5 to 6 times a day. That's not healthy. 4 to 5 to 6 times. Wait, so did she just use you for pleasure? Was that the main goal of her being in that app? Were you the... I think she just wanted someone that she was able to control, really. I think that's really it. Gareth, you look like a... Mr. Gareth, I apologize. You look like a very nice person. A very, very nice person. But you gotta understand that if you don't respect yourself, other people won't respect you. And by the way that things are moving between you and the other person, she does that because she sees that it doesn't seem that you respect yourself. Because if you did, you wouldn't be in that situation, man. I understand it's not easy, really. But this is really sad. I'm not gonna lie. This is not even funny, man. This is serious because there's actually people out there living this. But when you look at them outside, they're smiling and everything. I bet, like, whenever Gareth was going outside, he was smiling and all that. But inside he was crying because he knows that, okay, going back home is going to suffer. With people, with the person trying to hit him, bite him, kick him.
Being belittled on that side, and it was kind of the constant, oh, look at this chap, look how younger he is. She would tell me about, oh, you're the older one in this relationship, Gareth, and you're the, like, my body clock is ticking, and I want to get pregnant, and we need to get this baby sorted, and why can't you do this? And if I couldn't perform, then I was made to sleep on the floor with no covers on, with the window open.
Please do not get a child with this woman, because that will be 18 more years of being with that woman. I understand children are a gift, but that gift should be shared with someone that you love. That is not someone that you should have a kid with. Man, this is sad, bro.
Kind of a punishment for it. And she kept telling me I had halitosis and bad breath all the time, so I kept believing it. And then she stopped believing it, but she said, I'm not going to kiss you anymore unless you drink at least half a bottle of mouthwash and eat some toothpaste, because that's how bad your breath is. So I then had to drink mouthwash and eat toothpaste.
Guys, it's 11:41 in the video. Right now I have to, this story is not really, I really want to stop, but for y'all I'm gonna continue. We gotta power through this, man. Because this could really help someone going through this. I would never imagine someone. It seems like Gareth is from the UK by his accent. I would never imagine if someone went through this and think people are actually going through this right now. Right now, this woman is not valid at all. It's 0%. She's not valid, bro. And we'll listen to the rest, but looking at Gareth right now, and he's very courageous to share this story. And I applaud you, Gareth, because your story could really help someone that's going through this as we speak.
Before I could kiss her. But yeah, it was the only way that because I wanted to kind of still try to show that love towards her. I felt that I have no choice but to do it.
How often did she make you drink mouthwash?
2-3 times a week. Sometimes every other day.
And tell me a bit about the food and her control of you eating.
With the food stuff, so basically she'd said that I need to lose weight, that I was, a fat, overweight whale, and that I needed to get down to, I can't remember exactly, but it was kind of under 14 stone. I ended up losing 4.5 stone in 2 months.
Look at his face, man. You can see the despair in his eyes. You see the pain in his eyes. Look carefully, guys. I can feel this picture, man. Look at the pain in his eyes, bro. That's not a faint smile of happiness. That's a faint smile of, man, pain. Man.
Because she said to me, well, the only way to get around losing weight, Gareth, when I'd said, well, isn't it more about healthy eating and exercise? She said, no, the way you get around losing weight is not eating. I'm not stopping you from eating, but you're only going to eat what I eat and when I eat, and I better not catch you doing anything more than that. The thing is if I did get to eat something, it never really sat with me, because I think my stomach had shrunk so much that I just couldn't really digest food then. And plus I knew that if I did eat something, I couldn't go to the toilet anyway. So I just...
Well, you were a slave, man. And you didn't even know it. Wow. That really, I'm shocked, and it really opened my eyes on what people are going through. That's why, y'all, whenever you go outside, man, you never know what people are going through. You could be walking outside, see someone smiling and all that, but you never know that like yo what they're going through, man. I don't know what you're going through as we speak. You don't know what I'm going through as I speak. That's why you should just be, respectful and nice to anyone because that small act of kindness could really save their lives. Wow.
Just kind of thought, well, I may as well just not eat because I can't use the bathroom if I do. So, even if it is just a salad, what's the point? So,
What you're describing doesn't sound that kind of far off torture.
yeah, I think when I look back on it now, I think you think how could you treat another human being this way? But that is the whole control and coercive side of things because it was after I moved in, it was sudden but subtle, and it's the mind tactic, and it's what happens to begin with, and it's the very highs or very lows. There was never any middle ground. It was either really, really good or it was really, really bad. I remember we were away for a weekend in London and we'd gone into Harrods and she said to me, we're not leaving this store, Gareth, unless you buy me something expensive. And I kind of felt as if,
Everyone if you're from the UK, what's the heritage? Is it like an expensive store or something? Let me know.
well, what am I supposed to do here? Like, I can't, And she said, no, I'm telling you, we're not leaving this store until you buy me something really expensive. And I remember I was wearing a jumper at the time and she clawed me through my jumper, my sweater so much that my arm started bleeding and blood started coming out of my arm up through my coat because that's how hard she grabbed my arm. And then I had to go and do it. So, yeah.
How much did you have to spend on the bag?
£2,000.
How did you feel after you'd done that?
I felt, what do you say, I felt sad, really. My mum used to tell me you're being treated like a dog. Like, actually a dog, because we had a dog and the dog was actually better treated than I was. I remember...
A slave, not a dog. A slave.
One incident where I was supposed to go to the library and work and I'd snuck down to my mum's to go and see my parents because I think they were getting worried about me. When I went down there, I think I still had a bruise on my arm and my mum asked me the question and said, like, where did you get that bruise from? And I was tried to play it off as, I was nothing. And she said, no, you don't, like, the position of that bruise on your arm, I think I tried to say that, I'd knocked it into a door or something like that. And she said, no, but I can see there's a claw mark, like, next to it, like a fingernails mark. She knew more then. And it was happening, more frequently. And my ex had found out because she'd said, like, I was still getting I was getting constant messages all the time, constant phone calls, where are you? And when she said to me, look, you can come back now, I'm home now, so I'll see you in 15 minutes. She tried ringing me, so I tried not answering. And then to which point she said, look, I know you with your mother, and if you are planning on coming back now, you're going to get a beating for it because you didn't go where I told you to go, and you weren't there for as long as I told you to be there for, and you've been discovered and you've lied to me. So you're going to get punished for that. So I got back and then I had to stand there while I got kicked in the groin. I got scratched at, kicked at, clawed at. And then just, punished for it, for not being where I was supposed to be when I was supposed to be there. So that's when I felt it got to the point where I couldn't stay in this relationship. any longer.
So it was now that after all that happens, now you want to leave, Mr. Gareth? But at least you left, or you had that thought, like, yo, me going, or I'm gonna leave.
Kind of had my doubts, but I was thinking more like I need to try and do something drastic here. And I remember her saying to me once, the way things are going here, like you really need to get back in line again. I said, well, I haven't really done anything out of line. And she said something flippantly, like laughing, like, oh, well, I might actually end up even killing you.
And I don't think that she's playing. I don't think that I don't think it's a joke. She's for real. If she's able to do all of this, she is capable of ending your life, man. But the fact that you're alive right now, that's a good sign.
After that point where she flippantly kind of said that to me, I started periodically taking screenshots of my phone and sending them of the messages and things off my phone, because she used to periodically go through my phone and delete things. So delete messages she sent to me. So I started doing it and sending them in secret to my mum. There were sometimes I didn't even sleep because I was trying.
Mom.
I tried to stay awake all night so I could send as many messages and things as I could to my mum, because I figured if something happens to me, then at least she's got the evidence.
And how did you get out of the relationship, Gareth?
So I knew that my ex was out at an appointment and that she would be out for around an hour. So I'd arranged to kind of meet my mum in secret to go for a coffee, because I think my mum was becoming more and more worried about me. My ex had returned home and she'd noticed that there was a packet of crisps missing from the drawer and messaged me and said, did I take these? So I messaged, did I take a packet of crisps? So I messaged back and said, yeah, I just wanted to have something for my lunch. I'd hardly eaten in the day. So was that okay? And she messaged me back and she said, no, absolutely not, you greedy, a load of expletives. And she said, you're definitely not eating again. So my mum saw that message ping up on my phone and burst into tears. And I thought, well, I can't put my family through this any longer. And then I obviously, when I felt sad, I think even more sad for the fact that, my mum's broken down in tears in front of me and I didn't really know what to say or do. So I made a phone call to Mankind and I told them everything that was going on. And they said to me,
Mankind. It's very rare that I hear. It's very, very rare that I hear these types of charities that help men escape domestic abuse, because it's really a subject that people don't really pay attention to. There are men out there that really, really are in like abusive relationships, no? But in this society, we're taught at a young age to be tough and all that. But it's a serious matter. That's why, like, a lot of men, they do crash out. They crash out to a point that they hurt their significant other. You hear stories about, okay, boyfriend ended the life of the girlfriend. Sometimes it's because the boyfriend had anger problems and all that, but most of the time is they were bottling up anger from being mistreated. And eventually the bubble bursts and they couldn't control anymore. They saw, as they say, red. I'm happy Gareth reached out to mankind instead of taking matters to his own hands. Because you are stronger than you expect. It only needs one good punch to end someone's life. But I'm happy mankind was there. Don't be mankind, man.
This is all the signs of control and coercive behaviour, and you need to get out, and you need to, do it sooner rather than later for your own safety. So the next day, I thought, right, this is time to do it, and I left with just the clothes on my back.
How did it feel to be out of the house, and how did it feel to be away from her, free?
At first, it felt really weird because, after the police came round and I told them, they were shocked. And the police had said to me, the amount that it had accelerated, that it was one of the worst cases of control and coercive behaviour that they'd seen, and mainly because of how quickly things accelerated. We were only in a relationship for 8 months, and between the period of November to March or end of February, beginning of March time, the amount of abuse that had happened during that time, they'd never seen anything like it.
What happened in terms of the police action?
So it took a while to kind of get the charge placed, and this is the thing, is because your brain is conditioned for that person. So after I'd made the report, so I contacted her and said, look, we don't need to do this to each other. Just give me my belongings back. Just get some help, and we'll just go our separate ways, and we'll just leave it as that. And then she got me arrested for harassment. So then I was arrested, placed on bail. So we were both placed on bail against each other, which is during that time when I started having really negative thoughts and I became suicidal. I'd tried to walk out into traffic quite a few times, and
I'm happy you did not succeed. I'm happy that I did not succeed. We all know someone. It could be a family member or friend that stared at the knife. And when you stare at the knife, or you stare at the highway, or you stare at the bridge, or you stare at the pills for too long, eventually you will hear the news that that person isn't here anymore. Gareth, man, Mr. Gareth, I'm proud of you that you didn't take that next step. I'm very happy you didn't do that.
Yeah, I tried to do things with a knife and stuff in the kitchen. I tried to cut myself and things like that, when luckily I'd gone back to my parents and they'd stopped me at the time. And then they said, look, and I recognised at that point that I needed help. And then I went through therapy. So I went through psychotherapy, which took a long time. It took probably at least a year. These things don't solve overnight. I knew it was going to be a long road. But I knew I needed to seek that help, to get myself back on track again. I went through the therapy, and then as I was doing that, then they decided to place the charge on her and drop the charge against me. I had to write numerous statements during that time. It was kind of reliving it all the time. It was kind of going through, reliving all the evidence, everything, luckily I had all the overwhelming evidence on, through the text messages, emails, everything, the phone calls, the pictures that I managed to take of the cuts, the bruises.
And what was the conviction that she was given after the court trial?
So she was given so she pleaded guilty 3 days into the trial, and she was given a 2-year suspended sentence with a mandated 35-day rehabilitation order by the judge and a 5-year restraining order against me and my parents.
And how did you feel about that?
And what's going to happen after that? You see, the justice system needs to work on this, man. Because that's abuse. You want to tell me a 2-year suspended, 5 years of restraining order? But if the roles were reversed, Gareth will be doing life. I don't know if they have life in the UK, but over here in North America, they have life. The justice system needs to work on that, man.
Conviction.
At the time, I felt frustrated about it because I felt, if this was a male, then would it have been the same outcome?
Why have you decided to share your story and speak out about your experience?
I think just because there is a stigmatism out there in society still, that this can and does happen to men, and that if it can reach wider and can help somebody, both male and female, recognise the signs and symptoms of domestic abuse, uncontrolled and coercive behaviour, to try and get out of a bad situation, try and reach out for help, then this is worthwhile doing it. My life is back on track again, so it shows you, I think, that you can come out of this, a better person. I'm at the stage now where I'm starting to date again, and I am hopeful for the future.
Gareth, man, I'm proud of you. And I know your story could or will help a lot of people out there. You taught me something too. I didn't know that there were people going through what you just went through, and even worse. As we speak, people may be going through this right now. Men, women, children. That already opened my eyes. And I hope you opened yours. This is Mistervalid. We're out.